Hi there. Thanks for enrolling in Mentors in Tech and joining us for this year's student training. I'm Kevin, the founder of the Mint program. Over the next 2 hours, Erica, our community manager, and I will take you through the Mint program structure and requirements and how you can make the most of your time in Mint and launch your career in tech.
As Kevin mentioned, I am Erica, your community manager, and you'll be hearing from both of us throughout the year and during this training. Before we get started, please do add mentorsintech.com, that whole domain, to your safe senders list so you don't miss any emails from us in the future.
For CS students, it's really hard to navigate the tech hiring process by themselves because they've never experienced it, especially for students like you graduating into an evolving tech job market today. Mint will help you understand what's really important to getting hired, despite what's out there in mass media and social media. And we're able to help you bridge these crucial gaps by giving the opportunity to be mentored by two industry mentors who've been there themselves, or in real life would be the interviewer on the other side, and to guide you through the hiring process and what's actually going on behind the scenes. And there's so much AI slop and clickbait out there. It's great to have mentors and the Mint program to help you filter what's real and what's not. And during the entire process, help keep you on track and where you need to focus to give yourself the best chance of landing the role that you want. And students from selected college partners will have the opportunity to participate in a real world software engineering project end to end through the Code Day Labs open source micro internship, and you'll have the opportunity to meet directly with Mint partner employers and participate in industry events. So in this training, you'll learn how to be a good mentee and get the most out of this program, and the skills that you need to navigate the tech job search process, as we mentioned previously, and how you can explicitly demonstrate the 3 C's that all employers look for in a candidate so you can put your best foot forward in the hiring process. Having a well thought out, well run, structured mentorship program specifically designed for students like you is the only way to help our students and make the most effective and impactful use of our mentor and students' time. And over the past 5 years, we have helped hundreds of students who have successfully pivoted from their previous jobs in retail, food service, military, and more into tech, and increasing their projected lifetime income by an average of $4 million. That's life changing for our students and their families. 70 to 75% of Mint alums land a role within 6 months after their graduation. And that is only possible with everyone from your industry mentors, your faculty, Mint staff, and most importantly, you yourself being fully invested in your success and what it takes to get there. Your success in this program and your job search depends on you, so it's crucial that you're able to give this training 2 full hours of your undivided attention so that you can successfully learn and use the skills you'll learn later this year. There is a student training form with questions that you'll need to submit to help you understand and reflect on what's needed to make consistent progress in your job search. It is due by end of day on October 27th. If this form is not submitted completely and on time or has any hints of AI slop, you will not be matched with any mentors and you will not continue in the program. You can copy the training form questions out and take notes as you progress through the training. There's a lot of content, so take a break if you need to refocus. And of course, get in touch with us if you have any additional questions. In part one, we'll talk about the goals that you and your mentors will work together to achieve. This is the foundation for what you need to do tactically in the program to make progress towards your first tech job. And here are the 3 major areas that will help you be successful in the program. First, own your own job search. Only you can control the level of effort you bring into pivoting into being a tech professional. Your mentor and the Mint curriculum will guide you through your job search, but you're accountable to complete the program requirements, show up prepared for meetings, going to the workshops, going to the meet the employer events, and following through on what you learned, keeping making progress, and of course, practice, practice, practice those technical interviews. Your mentor cannot do this work for you, and no one likes pushing a rope uphill, and so don't beat that rope. Second, being able to explicitly demonstrate the 3 C's that'll help you get hired. We'll get more into depth on this later, but good to keep this in mind. First C is to be able to show that you're technically capable and competent for the role that you're applying for. This meaning doing well on the online and in-person technical interviews, able to talk about what you can do technically now, what you've done in the past, and potentially where you can grow technically in the future. The second C is commitment to do the job itself, which for many of our students mean translating your unique backgrounds, live experiences, and responsibilities and impact in any previous job into a skill set that technical recruiters and hiring managers will understand and value. The third C is demonstrating that you'll be a good fit into a technical team, even if your work experience is considered by many employers to be quote unquote non-traditional compared to the students that they normally hire. That means you'll be a good teammate to your future colleagues and a great direct report to whoever your future manager is. And lastly, putting all of that together will give you the tool set and confidence to tackle the entire job search process. In order to do that, you'll need to build a positive, sustainable foundation with your mentors, showing up prepared, taking feedback, making progress, valuing their time. It could be a new type of professional relationship for both of you so make sure it's solid. We have many students who are still in touch with their mentors many years after graduation, and some have told us their mentors even helped them years later on making the hop into their second job too. Success for us is students making progress and confidence toward their first job. In a constantly changing job market, you can only control your own actions and commitments. There's no one silver bullet or secret handshake we can teach you, and that's all you need. And in the current environment, we got the next best thing, which are mentors and the program, but it is very much a marathon and not a sprint, so be prepared. What we do in the program will help you stack the deck in your favor, one card at a time. And if you and your mentors are focused on the right things, you will get there.
So, who are your mentors? Before you meet the two people who will be working with you most closely through the year, we want you to have some grounding on who they all are, where these mentors are coming from, and what they're here to do. They are responsible for working with you as you work through the Mint program, but you are responsible for doing the work to get the job in tech. You will get out of this entire experience what you put into it, the level of effort, towards the level of outcome. You're accountable for being engaged in each of your meetings with your mentor, doing the work in between your meetings that you agree on as your action plan, applying for those jobs, attending events that will get you closer to working in tech, and generally making progress the entire time towards getting hired. A mentor, it's a unique role. It's different from your professor, your boss, a friend, a therapist. And we say this up front so you're clear on how these mentors will support you compared to other people who might be in your life. The mentors that you'll be working with this year, about 180 total, between all of them, as they work and lean on each other to work to best support you and find information or help you get answers to your questions, that's 2,700 years, if everyone's kind of around that average of experience that you're drawing from in the tech industry. And the most exciting, over 10 of them, are alumni, Mint alumni who've graduated in the last 5 years and successfully transitioned into tech. Use this knowledge, use this information well, and also know that they're volunteers. They are spending their valuable time outside of work and their other lives to help you. So you are responsible for using their time well. The analogy Kevin just shared about pushing a rope uphill comes directly from a mentor who was feeling frustrated that he was trying to push and the student was not necessarily pulling on their end of the rope, and picking up the work and taking it forward. You can see how frustrating that would feel. So make sure you're always in that position where you're pulling and the mentor is supporting you from further down the hill. So that's where you relate to your mentors, what they're here to do. Next, we'll have a video from one of our longtime mentors describing who he is, what his background is, and why he's here.
Hi, my name is Jinwei Chen. I'm currently an engineering lead at Warner Media. I've also worked as an engineering lead at Microsoft for over 15 years. I first started right out of college as a tester working on web games on a little site called Emerson Games. Since then, I've gotten to work on all sorts of products such as Xbox, Xbox Game Pass, and HBO Max. I've also worked on all parts of the tech stack, from backend systems and services to mobile apps and websites. Why am I mentoring? The tech industry has grown tremendously over the past few decades, but there is still a lot of room for improvement. I'm especially excited to see more talented individuals from a diverse set of backgrounds join the industry. I'm always eager to help folks learn more about what it's like, answer questions you may have, and help you all break into the business. I look forward to meeting some of you in the near future. Thanks.
As you can imagine, the tech job market has changed quite a bit since Mint started in 2020. And this is what we're seeing and what we're hearing from our mentors and partner companies. AI has enabled low friction job applications, which job seekers use, and it overwhelms the HR team. And they in turn uses AI to process sometimes the 500 applications per role that they get in a day or just in a few hours. However, no one is hiring purely based on resumes or online technical assessments, that there's always going to be people who will interview in person and multiple people at that. And contrary to what a lot of students think, AI coding tools now mean that entry-level software engineers now have to know more, be able to deal with more complexity, software engineering approaches, and do more rather than less than entry-level software engineers before, which means both recruiters and hiring managers are placing now an emphasis of return to basics, return to fundamentals, more in-person recruiting events, or going to conferences to meet real candidates rather than just relying on online platforms. And interviews will emphasize not just your CS skill set, but also software engineering and problem-solving fundamentals. While we have had a consistent rate of over 70% or 75% of our mentees landing a role 6 months after graduation, there's a noticeable difference in the number of applications and interviews they had to do in order to land the role. As you can see, our students in 2022, graduating 2022 and graduating 2024, and what that looks like. Some students treat the process like a purely numbers game, like buying lottery tickets, right? The more you buy, but the better your chance. Yeah, if you don't apply to any jobs, you're not going to get an offer. But also, after a certain number of applications or interviews and you don't get an offer, it's important to pause, reassess, reflect, get some feedback on what areas you need to improve and work on rather than just send out more of the same application or approaching the interviews the same way that you have before. Quality is what will help you land a role in the end, but you do need to send out a certain quantity of applications too. So it's a little bit of both.
So now that we've laid the groundwork for what this program is and who you're working with, we'll do the first official activity for this training, where we'll pause, ask you some questions, and you'll write down your answers in addition to the notes and questions you've already been answering as you listen to the training. So go to your training form, take about 3 minutes, which we'll give you here in the video, and then pause if you need more time. But write down your answer to this question. When this program ends in June, what would make you feel that being a mentee, a student in the Mentors in Tech program, was successful? So think about, again, what you can control about this experience. What would a successful outcome look like? Looking at what you can control. And then come back after and share the goal with your mentors when you have your first meetings. Look at it yourself every month. Put it on a post-it, put it somewhere on your desktop. And then are the activities you're doing through Mint helping you work towards this goal?
In part two, we'll give you an overview of how Mint works and the expectations for mentors and students, and preview some of the important discussions that you and your mentors will have this year. To get to where you want to be, there are 3 essential steps for you. Number 1 is to work with your mentors to build a great resume and LinkedIn profile. We have multiple workshops on these, and not just to attend, but put the advice to good use. Number 2 is to have at least 4 technical interview practice sessions with your mentors, or 2 sessions each. These are the most important component of the interview process. You will need to spend a lot of time preparing for these on your own as well, and we have a lot of workshops and resources for this to help you. You will also spend another session on STAR behavioral interview questions to build a good set of answers that you can use when asked. And number 3 is to apply to jobs, not just any random job, but jobs that are appropriate for you. Remember, we said quality and quantity. And you can also attend Meet the Employer events where you can meet real HR recruiters that we have partnerships with, and where we can refer you to open roles at their companies. If you find that you've applied for a lot of jobs but haven't heard back, it's time to step back, reassess, and attend a Mint drop-in office hours for more help. As we previously mentioned, there's no one silver bullet, but we have to build it step by step, and you need to do it intentionally and well to be successful.
Here's what those 3 essential steps look like in practice. These are your requirements for staying in the Mint program through the school year. First is to meet for 1 hour per month with each of your mentors, 2 mentors total, and follow the Mint topics for each of these meetings so that you are making progress towards getting hired. You're applying intentionally with care to at least 4 jobs per month. This means that you are looking for and applying for roles that are appropriate for your level of experience, not just throwing things out there for senior level roles and seeing what sticks. So you're thoughtfully applying. You're logging those in the meeting reflection form that you are completing to confirm that you had a meeting each month. And then you are attending Mint workshops. We have a monthly workshop that maps to the Mint curriculum that you're following with your mentors, and it gives you a chance to learn about those topics together as a student group. So the monthly workshop is required. We also have drop-in hours monthly, so you can come in and get one-on-one help from the Mint team or recruiters. And then we also, throughout the year, have Meet the Employer. These are info sessions with employers that are looking to hire students like you, bring you into their programs, their internships, their entry-level roles, and for you to get extra visibility compared to the general population. So these are essential for you to join and to be applying for. We'll talk about each of these requirements later in the training. 3 unexcused missed meetings. We're looking at potentially withdrawing you from Mentors in Tech because you're not using your time, and especially your mentor's volunteer time, well. So that is essential for you to keep up with. If you're having issues completing the meetings, reach out to us immediately. Some colleges that we work with will have access to open source projects through Code Day, and you may have been offered the opportunity to apply for the National Science Foundation NSF Excellent Fellowship that has additional requirements around meeting attendance and completing projects. You'll learn more about that if you are enrolled in those pieces. In general, all of these requirements are designed to reinforce that you will get out of this program the level of effort that you put into it. So if you're keeping it, casual, you're not really following the curriculum or showing prepared for meetings or even applying for the employer sessions that we've been working to, for a long time to create for you, you're probably not going to land where you want to land. If you put in more effort, you should see more progress come from it.
Every one-on-one meeting you have with each mentor is structured to maximize the time you spend together. First, you have an introduction to catch up, a few minutes, but the majority of time then is used to go through the topic discussion guide, which we provide, and there's about a dozen different topics that you guys will walk through. And then the action plan for the student on what you need to do before the next meeting, what you're going to be doing in the month in between meetings. And then also confirm that the next meeting is the recurring meeting that you have set up and what you'll be doing. And then the last 5 minutes of the meeting, please use it to complete the meeting reflection and end the meeting. The very first meeting you have with each mentor is the most important in terms of setting the tone and norms for the rest of the year. It is super, super important to get a recurring schedule done so it does not get into a scheduling hassle every month between you and your mentor. And remember, you have 2 mentors, so that's a lot of back and forth. When you learn who your mentor is in early November, email them immediately to introduce yourself and suggest a range of times to hold your November meeting. Confirm the times and send the invitation as soon as possible because that month will go by really, really quickly. Remember, Thanksgiving, everything will come up really, really fast. Make sure that the invitation includes a video conferencing link. During the November meeting, pick a monthly meeting time together, like Tuesdays at noon when you'll both be free, or every second Tuesday of every month that you'll both be free, and then you will create and send out a recurring meeting calendar from December all the way to June, so you have a consistent time to meet every month. If you're not familiar with calendaring software like Outlook or Google Calendar, share your screen so your mentor can help you create that invitation. This is a required skill that you will use every day in your tech job. In tech, your entire day, entire week, entire month is all run on calendars. Hitting the ground running, get the structure, expectations, and everything in place will be really important to your success for the rest of the school year.
Throughout the school year, you and your mentors will use this Mint dashboard that you see here to prepare for each of your meetings. That's where you'll pull up the topic outline that will be your agenda for that meeting. You'll navigate to resources and events that support each topic, and you'll close out the meeting with a brief reflection. We'll walk through each step and everything that you'll find on the dashboard a little later in the training. As I mentioned, the meeting topics that you'll use with your mentors in each meeting live here on the dashboard. So we're highlighting the list of topics here. They live on the right side of your dashboard so that you and your mentor will pull them up for each meeting, read them, work through them together. And we designed the contents of each topic and the progression of the topics through the recruiting process to help you make consistent progress. Again, we'll come back to these in more detail a little bit later.
Let's dive a little bit deeper into how your mentors can help you navigate the tech hiring ecosystem.
So as Kevin mentioned previously, what employers are looking for in any new employee that they're hiring boils down to the 3 C's. So is the candidate capable of doing the technical work for the role and continuing to grow in their skills? Are they committed to getting the work done and done well, especially if they have a past track record that can demonstrate that? And will they be compatible? Are they, a good person on their team, a good teammate that people want to work with? So you have to show these qualities in every interaction with the employer, from submitting your resume to and your LinkedIn profile to the screening, interview, an on-site interview, even the emails in between with the recruiter and possibly a hiring manager. You may already have all of the 3 C's ready to go, but it is up to you to explicitly demonstrate them throughout the recruiting process. And then if you have previous work experience outside of tech, the tech recruiting process, know that that's very different from anything you've probably been through. So the way you might have demonstrated these qualities previously will likely be very different. So be intentional when you're talking to a tech recruiter and people involved in this process in demonstrating those in the words and the language and with examples that are clear to them how they apply to your readiness for a role in tech.
Practicing the technical interview is the most important part of the program. You're going to have at least 2 sessions with each of your mentors on this for a total of 4 sessions. This is an incredibly rare opportunity to practice with mentors who have done this many times, and many of our mentors are technical interviewers for their teams. You will need to hold yourself accountable in making progress, as there is usually quite a bit of work here for a lot of students. The skill set to do well on an in-person technical interview is a totally different skill set than coding on an online platform or how you do your homework problems. Only your mentors can help you with the in-person technical interviews, even more so now that employers are going back to in-person whiteboarding style of interviews. We do not want you to go to an in-person interview before you have practiced it with your mentors and have a certain level of comfort and know what to expect. Many students assume that a GPA is all they need to get hired and not aware of the fact that if they can't meet the technical bar during a technical interview, they won't be hired no matter how high your GPA is or how well they scored on the online assessment. You should spend plenty of time practicing independently using Cracking the Coding interview and beyond Cracking the Interview books to get used to the type of problems and if there are technical areas where you need a refresher. Sometimes students are scared to get started because they're pretty thick books or intimidated. Don't be. This is the industry standard and everyone has to do it. Before your first technical interview practice, watch and practice along with at least 2 of the half dozen recorded workshops where mentors from Microsoft, Amazon, and other companies demonstrate and role play what happens in a technical interview, what an applicant sees, and what the interviews are really doing behind the scenes. Then, together with your mentor, pick problems from Cracking the Coding interview or beyond Cracking the Coding interview to practice. First, pick a easy problem from Cracking the Coding interview ahead of time that you know the answer to. You and your mentor both review it, and your mentor will walk through on how they would approach it and solve it and see if it kind of matches your expectations as well. And as well as understanding what an interviewer is considering and what you as an interviewee should expect. Then find a different problem, maybe a little bit harder one this time. Walk together through it as a team on approach and how to handle it during an interview. Then finally, pick a problem ahead of time, or you get to be the candidate and the mentor, the interviewer, and practice, practice, practice. And also don't forget to debrief on what went well, what didn't, so you can improve. During the above, make sure you think out loud your thought process, like a sports play-by-play of sorts. Understanding what's happening behind the scenes, not just like what you see on the surface level, what's being talked about, but really understand what's happening behind the interview process, what the interviewers are really looking for. It may be really different things than what you think, like engineering trade-offs, moving from a brute force solution to a more elegant one. Many students think it's like a test where like you just try to get the answer. Absolutely not. They're looking for how you think, how you approach problems, how you think like a software engineer. Lastly, how to read interview cues and ask the right questions and assumptions, and also read the cues to how to recover if you run into a roadblock.
You'll also spend a full meeting this year with your mentors writing and practicing how you talk about how you work for behavioral questions. These questions can come up anywhere in the interview process, from the recruiter screen to a tech interview or a final round interview with the hiring manager or the team lead. And these questions show the team what it's like to work with you. You may have encountered similar ones for previous jobs, because they're good for getting an idea of how your past behavior indicates your future potential behavior. So, like with technical interviews, telling structured stories about specific examples of your work is a very different skill set than anything that you're learning in school. So, it takes intentional preparation and practice to perform well. Now, when you're going into your behavioral interview meeting, you will work with your mentors to start listing your stories that you'll use for common behavioral questions. And then you'll start drafting those answers for at least 5 common questions using the STAR method. STAR stands for situation, task, action, and result. That is a way to tell a story in an organized way and make sure you hit all of the important pieces. And these answers, they're where if you have previous work experience, like most of our Mint students do, you get to highlight your transferable skills by drawing from the real interactions that you've had with colleagues or customers, or demonstrating self-awareness, especially about how a situation played out. The writing the stories, the preparation is part 1 of getting ready for interviews. Part 2 is the practicing. Because choosing the right story for the question and telling it out loud so it flows naturally is its own skill. And again, just like practicing for tech interviews with your mentors, in this meeting, your mentors will act like the interviewer to help you get the necessary physical practice, pulling stories and telling them out loud. You will spend time in your first couple of meetings with your mentors working through your resume and LinkedIn, getting feedback and making changes, incorporating changes. Recruiters typically have literal seconds, 5, 7 seconds, to scan a resume or a profile before they decide whether to move forward. No one's reading every word. Every word they do see has to count. So you'll spend your first couple of meetings getting those in shape. You are accountable for updating those with the changes that you're receiving during the meeting and right after the meeting to get those locked down so you can focus on the next part of getting ready to recruit for tech roles. There is no shortage of Mint resources to help you do this. We've got a recommended resume template that are easily scannable by recruiters, lets you focus on what makes you unique. We have a live workshop in December around how to update your resume. We have many previous years of workshop recordings for you to watch and get more of that guidance. And we'll have monthly drop-in hours where you'll get one-on-one feedback from Mint and the recruiters who volunteer their time to be part of those. Some of the things to watch out for with your resume and LinkedIn is that some mentees have too much information about what they've done before that is not technical. Some have no information about their previous experience. Part of this program is finding the right balance for you, where you are sharing what's relevant, what's transferable to your tech career, and not discounting what you did before. So that's why it's especially important if you're coming in with previous work experience to this program to spend time with your mentors and coming to our events or drop-in hours for us to give you tailored feedback on what's the right amount of information to share about what you've done before. And then for every application you submit, your resume needs to be updated and tailored, pull out the right keywords to highlight what makes you unique that is especially relevant for that role. Tell the story for the person who's reading why they should go ahead and bring you in.
Many of our students have unique work backgrounds, life experiences, and aspirations. Many of you do not know that there are many, many roles in tech beyond the role of software engineer. We have a module called Explore Roles Beyond SDE so that you get exposed to a wide range of roles in tech that you may want to consider. We spent about a year and a half interviewing mentors in 10 different technical disciplines and talk about what they actually do and how students can explore that particular career path. This will dispel a lot of myth for students and help you find a good fit if you want to know more. When it comes to applications, mentees need to apply for the right roles for their unique skill set, strength, and previous experiences. Lean into that. Many students have the best interviews in a world they already know well. We have students who worked for UPS in the warehouse, land roles in logistics companies, previously in retail land roles where they now actually design the retail sales software that they used to use, or they were previously in the military and now work for a Department of Defense contractor. Most Mint students don't know anyone in tech before the program start by applying for SDE roles because that's what you heard you should be doing. But it may not where you have the biggest edge in terms of interviewing and standing out as a candidate. Start using this in your early meetings and look at this list together with your mentor and pick where you want to start.
Let's come back to the requirement to apply to at least 4 jobs per month. This keeps you actively looking and applying for jobs throughout the year as they become available. Tech hires many months in advance. Recruiting for next summer already started this past summer. So you cannot wait until next spring to start looking for summer internships or a job that starts after you graduate in June. Quantity and quality will help you be successful. Note that last year students submitted at least, about twice as many applications per interview invitation compared to students 2 years ago. The market is tough and it doesn't seem to be letting up just yet. So plan to submit a lot of applications this year to get to your tech job, but make the effort to identify the range of employers and roles that are best for you, and then submit high quality, targeted applications to each one. Apply directly through the employer's website, not LinkedIn, because that tends to get hundreds of applications very quickly because it's so quick to use Easy Apply on LinkedIn. When you go straight to the employer's website or whatever career application they're using, you often land in a different folder with fewer people that they might look at first. Set up those job alerts on their website so you'll get emailed when the job you're looking for is posted. And then make sure you're actively looking for roles when you're applying that will let you pivot, that you already have experience in that industry, if you're grounding there, and now you're pivoting to a technical role in a space you already know. So, for example, many Mint students have backgrounds in retail jobs, and a lot of our graduates have now landed tech roles in Costco's IT department. Their knowledge of retail can give them an edge over other candidates who don't already know what that's like. If you work for a company right now that has technical roles, applying for those should be your first priority. You already know the space, and now you're bringing a technical lens to it. Work with your mentors, whatever your background, to find where you can pivot and how to highlight your unique edge in each resume and interview. Your other top priority is to apply for the employers we invite to our Meet the Employer events. These events come out of a lot of work that we've done over time to build relationships with employers that typically hire mainly from larger and better known schools or through direct, connections. And we've been working with them to ensure that Mint students will get the same level of visibility in their candidate pool to those places they tend to target. So in those events, the employers will tell you what they're looking for, and they are committing to reviewing your application more closely when you apply. And that means you need to spend even more time preparing a well-crafted and tailored application because you know for sure it's going to be seen. And you need to stand out among the other candidates that they typically pay the most attention to. Now, if you come to us later in the year frustrated because you submitted a ton of resumes with no response, but you haven't been attending or applying for Meet the Employer roles, you've missed out on your best chance to get hired. So again, this is kind of base level. Start here at the very least. Everything I've just described will feel like more effort per application, and it is. But when you're targeting the right roles and sending high quality targeted applications for each one, you should not need to submit as many applications overall. And finally, if you're getting, up to 50, 60 applications and you haven't gotten any sort of interview invitation yet, time to evaluate every part of your strategy. Focus on what you can control on your side and change and see what works. Learn from each application and interview what you need to adjust for the next one. And focus on maybe you need to look at different roles, other roles outside of SDE. Focus on re-upping your resume and your LinkedIn with your mentors, and attend our drop-in hours for more help one-on-one. So as you're working through all of the requirements this year and the activities between your meetings, we wanted to pull it all together with a document that you can download and refer back to, again, every month or weekly, called the Student Progress Timeline. That will help you and your mentors make sure that you are staying on time with what you need to be doing each month, whether it's certain activities within the meetings or what you should be doing in between each meeting, events you need to be attending, things that are already on our calendar that you expect to cover throughout the year for workshops. So make sure that you download this from the dashboard. It'll be under resources and available from your first meeting.
All right, so now we'll talk about the logistics of the Mint program and how it all ties it together.
One of the first things you do when you are matched with your mentors at the beginning of November is to start scheduling your meetings with them. So a reminder, you're meeting 1 hour per month with each mentor between November and June. You'll schedule your November meeting as soon as possible when you know who your mentors are. Use their email contact, and their LinkedIn to message them and make sure you're talking to each other over email. Get that meeting scheduled. Thanksgiving is coming, so there will be a limited amount of time that you probably can meet during November. In that November meeting, send a recurring calendar invite for December through June through your online calendar, Outlook, Google, whatever it is, including your conference link, making sure that you have the full hour available. A free Zoom account may not have an hour available to you, so use the access to the tool that you have. Teams or Google Meet should have access to that, a full hour. If you need help getting that set up during the meeting, share your screen. Your mentor is ready to help you. You're practicing this skill. A lot of our students are new to using online calendars, scheduling meetings, things like that. We know that your mentors, again, are ready to help. You need to practice now so you're ready for interview scheduling and on the job. They will not be teaching you in your first tech job. As you work with your mentors and everyone you communicate through Mentors in Tech, recruiters, obviously, these behaviors are going to be expected. One is checking and responding to email regularly, daily. Respond quickly to your mentor questions from your mentors. They may have schedule changes, and you might get interview invitations from recruiters for places you applied for on short notice. Check your junk folders. As you are scheduling meetings, be flexible to find a recurring time that works well for both you and your mentor. It's 1 hour out of 100, about 720 hours per month. You both have other commitments, but you both committed to this program. Surely you can find an hour that overlaps. And then schedule time on your calendar between meetings to complete your action plan from your previous meeting and do the pre-work for the next one. You're accountable for showing up for each meeting ready for the discussion. During the meeting, respect the time. No typing except taking notes, no multitasking, stay off your phone. This is practicing how you show up in interviews when you want people to hire you. Respect their time and minimize scheduling changes. Protect the time on your calendar, including travel time. Give at least 2 business days of warning for changes, and email your mentor as soon as you find out that something is happening where you might need to change your meeting on short notice. Tell them ahead of time if something has gone wrong, if you're going to be late. Don't just no-show. All of these behaviors will set you up well for a positive relationship with your mentors and build the habit so you're doing the same things with everyone you want to work with in the future. Here is your Mentors in Tech dashboard. This, as I said before, is your home base. You will start here at the beginning of each meeting, and you'll come back to here multiple times through the month as you're doing your pre-work, as you're wrapping up your action items from the previous meeting. This is the page you'll start with when the year begins. Your mentor has a very similar page where you'll be tracking your meetings together. You have info on who your partners are. If you scroll down on this page, you'll find names, contact information, and biographical info for each of your mentors. They'll have the same for you. And you'll start here to go pull up the info that you need for this month's meeting. Pull in the discussion topics that you will be working through together. Events are going to be, again, scroll down on this page and you'll see the upcoming events listed in the bottom right. Links to the recordings will be available near the bottom and the middle of the page. And there's a whole list of resources, kind of general program resources that you'll be able to find, again, in that purple box towards the bottom of the page. Part of your first meeting with your mentor will be to spend a few minutes where you each, on your own computers, maybe you share one of your screens, but you're both scrolling through independently to explore, see what all is here. Too often we hear towards the end of the year that a student didn't know that something was available on the dashboard. Get curious together. Make sure that you're looking through the beginning of the year so you know where to look first when you have questions as the year progresses. From your main dashboard page, this is what comes up when you click on the current month, February, for example, for your meeting outline for February. Think of this meeting outline as the bread, the outside of a meeting sandwich. This will guide you through the beginning and the end of the meeting. In the middle will be the discussion topic. We've highlighted the topic module call out in the meeting topic. That is where you jump out to the discussion topic. There's some suggested ones in the blue box on the right of this page. And so that discussion topic is, again, the inside of the meeting, the topic, the discussion that you and your mentor will have together during this meeting. You and your mentor will be looking at your own versions of these pages, of this page on your own computers. So we'll talk more about how your 1 hour meeting will be scheduled, structured in the next slide. But once you're hitting about 5 minutes before the end of the hour, come back to this page, scroll down to the bottom, and that's where you fill out your meeting reflection. That is a brief survey where you fill out what you did during the meeting, how it went, what more questions you have. You can send notes directly to Mint. Your mentor will have their own version of the form to fill out. So you will, again, during this meeting, 5 minutes before the end, you each end the call, but you stay at your computer and you each fill out the form. Know that your mentor will be able to see most of your reflections, so they can see what questions you need to work on the next month. But if there's a message you send directly to Mint as part of that form, that won't go to them. So do this during the 5 minutes at the end of the meeting while the information is fresh, before you walk off to the next commitment or class. This is so you have it while it's fresh, you've marked off that the meeting occurred, and the reflection is how we know that you did the meeting. If we don't see the reflection, we don't know the meeting happened. You don't get credit for that meeting having occurred.
Let's now take a look at the monthly meeting discussion guide and structure in more depth. On the right is what a discussion guide usually will look like. Before the meeting, like any professional meeting, you should probably do some prep. You should review past workshops or attend the current one so you and your mentors have context and not starting from zero, which will be a much better use of your time. The session itself will have a lot of prompts and discussion topics, which will take a bulk of the meeting time. And your mentor will run the meeting like a work meeting, which will put you in the right frame of mind and it'll be good practice. So treat your mentoring session like a recurring one-on-one with your future manager. Use professional tools, have professional conduct, follow an agenda, all of that good stuff. If part of the discussion is stretching beyond the recommended time, talk about, do what you want to do in a regular professional meeting. Talk about trade-off between deep diving in now and finish and maybe pushing the agenda till later, or just create an action item for yourself to do a little bit more research and send a follow-up email to revisit next month or ask for a additional time slot. These meetings are a good place for you as a student to learn these professional norms before your first real tech job. And make sure there's time close to the end where you know what you need to do in between the meetings and prepare for the next one. Have some action items for yourself and make sure you and your mentor agree on it. Reserve the last 5 minutes for both of you to complete the meeting's required reflection. It serves as a summary, progress tracking, and also what you need to be doing this whole month. And students who accumulate 3 missing meetings or reflections are subject to withdraw from the MINT program.
Let's go back to the main dashboard page I showed before. This is where you'll find everything else besides your monthly meeting outlines. Scroll down on this page, like I mentioned, that purple box will be at the right. I talked about you'll find your mentor information, and in the purple box, you've got the discussion topics list, resources further down in the purple box. Below that, you'll have links to register for the upcoming Mint events. And then after they happen, those listings will move to the center where you'll find past recordings. You can see that example on the right of this slide where things ended up at the end of this last year. So everything will be there. Mint workshops have been recorded from the beginning. So those recordings are actually linked from the related discussion topic pages. So for example, when you're doing resume review with your mentors, you'll find workshops going back to 2021 linked in that discussion topic. So you'll have plenty more to go through. When we do schedule new events, we announce them in the LinkedIn group, on Slack, in our monthly newsletter, and right here on this page, it'll come up on this page. So register for events as you see them and add them to your calendar. So you have them, again, held on your calendar. I especially want to point out one of the resources here, which is the job application tracker. This is what you'll use to track every job that you apply for. It lets you see at a glance where you stand with each employer, what steps you need to take next, or if the ball's in their court, or remind you, how and when to follow up because you have dates for each of these steps, and make sure that you're taking steps to move forward. You'll also be able to just pull data from this to tell us in your meeting reflection, which we'll see next, about how many jobs you've applied for, interviewed for in your meeting reflections. So there's a lot of information, a lot of stuff on this page and in your whole dashboard. So again, take a few minutes in your first meeting with each mentor to share your screens and explore together so you know where to go look as you have questions during meetings and between meetings. There's 5 years of information and more research packed into this dashboard. Let's talk about the meeting reflections and the event reflections. If you were a student last year as well, you will have seen that column pop up near the end of the year as we launched that feature. So the meeting reflections are, like we talked about, what you do at the end of each meeting, in the last 5 minutes of the hour that you're scheduled with your mentors. So end your meeting 5 minutes early, do your reflection. It's, again, scroll down on the meeting outline page for the month. That's where you'll find this form. It lets you keep track of how you're making progress with your mentors on your job search, where we can help at the program level. And so that's where you log that information. Make sure, and tell also how we know that you met. If you don't do the meeting reflection, we have no record that you did a meeting. We follow up with you at the end of the month because you now have an unexcused missed meeting. So we don't want those to pile up. Number three, we're looking at potential for withdrawn from Mint. Stay on top of those. Event reflections are there to help you stay on top of going to Mint monthly workshops, and for you to capture what you learned, and let us know what else you want to know about. So one of the requirements we talked about is attending the Mint monthly workshop each month, November through June, and doing that's the reflection is how we know you were there. Also, let us know what you learned. Um, on your main dashboard page, again, you'll see the trackers, the links for each of your meetings with your mentors, and then the event reflection for each month. We expect that you'll attend these events live, which is why we give you several weeks notice. Um, for the most part, they will be posted within the first few weeks of the program this year. And we may add other events throughout the year, but we try to give as much notice as possible. And we try to schedule them during the lunch hour for most mentees, depending on where you're located through the country. If your school or work schedule makes it impossible to attend, we will record every workshop. We record as many things as we possibly can, and we will post those recordings within 2 weeks in the past event section. If you need some, if that's not available before you need to complete the event reflection before the end of the month, go to one of the previous year's workshops where you can always find them in the dashboard in the discussion topics. So watch one of those events again instead, and then tell us what you learned in the event reflection. So in your mentor meetings, you'll be able to discuss the topics together and plan for where you want to add additional recordings to watch when you spend more time. So you do one meeting reflection per mentor, that's 2 meeting reflections, and one event reflection each month.
All right, welcome to part 5, where you can learn about how to build a positive mentoring relationship with your mentor. A successful mentoring relationship starts always with gratitude. Everyone from your professor to each one of your mentors, the Mint team, the Code Day team are here because we all want to see you reach your goals. We know there's a lot of stuff on your plate, but we're all here to help you. We're all coming from a place of appreciation and gratitude that we can put you on a path to your next job. And we hope you appreciate all the people who have invested and devoted their time to help you be successful and get to where you want to be. And unsurprisingly, mentors say they're most fulfilled and enjoying the mentorship experience when mentees show up prepared, engaged, and focused during the meeting and are excited when you make progress and land the role that you were aiming for. For respecting time and boundaries, respecting time means showing up, being ready, means being on time for meetings, planning ahead, bring topics and questions to work through with your mentors, and capturing key takeaways and make progress in between meetings and following up on those next steps. Respecting time means using the time that your mentor has already set aside for you effectively. Also keep in mind that you're working with mentors from across the industry with a large range of experience and backgrounds. Some are Mint alums themselves who are just a few years ahead of you themselves and still vividly remember their last job search process and it's still fresh in their mind, all the way up to people who've been in tech for 20, 30 years and are in very, very senior roles at their company, running teams of hundreds of engineers on products you definitely know. These are great people to know and help you understand the process from the other side, and you want them to be in your corner in the future. And lastly, everyone leads busy lives and sometimes have rough times, and your mentors, the Mint team, and your school team are here to support if bigger things are happening in your life that prevents you from investing in the mentorship and the program. So if you have a tough day or week, that's okay. When you join the meeting, communicate why you're feeling this way to your mentor. And the important thing is to make a plan to move forward. Your mentor understands you're a person and vice versa. And a respectful and transparent conversation can really help build a solid relationship. There are plenty of prompts in the meeting outlines to drive discussion once you choose to invest time in your mentorship, but you need to invest the time and energy in yourself. And, lastly, let us know if you're having a hard time. We can help. We have additional resources and connections that can help you get to where you want to be.
let's talk about the expectations for your meetings themselves. Your mentors are aware of these expectations as well, so everyone should be on the same page. First, you're going to confirm your next month's discussion topic at the end of the previous meeting. The November meeting, you confirm with your mentors what you'll talk about in December. When you do that, when you're deciding what to do and confirming what you'll talk about, look at the pre-work for that next discussion topic. Pull it up, look at the pre-work, any pre-work that's listed, and schedule time on your calendar that happens between now and the next meeting to do that pre-work. That can be at the same time or separate from the time you're scheduling to complete the action items that you and your mentor discussed, at the end of this meeting that you'll do to follow up on the previous meeting. Second, again, honor the whole time, the whole hour that you scheduled with your mentor. You have a recurring meeting, so it's always going to be there on your calendar. You always see it when you're scheduling other things around it. If something comes up where you absolutely must move one of these meetings, give at least 2 business days, again, that's 2 weekdays notice, and send a message to your mentor as soon as you discover you need to reschedule. So tell your mentor as soon as you find out, even if it's a week ahead. Great, that's more time for them to plan. Don't just not show up. Remember, you would not do that at work. Don't do that here. Your mentors are volunteers, but they have chosen to arrange their time around you. Don't waste that time. And finally, use the entire hour that you've scheduled for the meeting. But to do that, give yourself a buffer around the meeting time to make sure that you can start right on time and focus till the end of the hour. Don't schedule things right up against it because things run late, traffic can be surprising, and you'll lose the hour so quickly. Third, again, use the meeting outline. Use the meeting outline and the discussion outlines. Keep those open on your screen and share it in your online meeting so you're both following along and you can keep each other on schedule. Keep an eye on how much time you have together. Many of these discussion topics have guides for how many minutes to spend on each part, so you can get through the whole outline during the call. If you do need to go a little deeper than the time that's called out there, note where you may have skipped or shortchanged a part of it and make a plan together to catch up next time. Do more research on your own. Make sure you're not skipping that entirely. Every bit of the topics is there for a reason. Finally, turn on your video for these meetings. This is practice for showing professionally in online interviews, or you need to be just ready to snap right into professional mode. And so this is also how you get to know and trust each other by seeing each other's faces, reading reactions, knowing the other person is truly listening to you. Use these meetings to make sure you're able to find a reliable spot for these interviews that you'll hopefully be having soon, where you've got a strong internet connection, a neutral background with minimal distractions, and as much quiet as possible. So maybe not in your car, or a place you can hide if you've got family members running around. Where are those places you can go to have a professional looking meeting? And ask your mentors for feedback on how you show up on video. Make those changes, incorporate that feedback immediately.
We know that you don't exist in a vacuum, as opposed to 2020 when we first started. The students started with more of a blank slate. There's been a huge growth in social media about how to land a entry-level role in tech, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, Reddit, or Reddit CS career questions or CS majors. That said, when you haven't been in the industry yet, it's really hard to know what's real or not and what's good advice or not so good advice. This is why having real life industry mentors in Mint is more important than ever. We have about 180 mentors, 2 of which are assigned to you, and those include 14 Mint alums, and they average about 15 years of industry experience, which combines for a total of 2,700 years of industry experience. So be ready to reset. Social media might say XYZ, but maybe your mentor is able to verify the real world experience, or maybe it's different, or the advice may apply to students in a different situation, or they may confirm they're like, yeah, that's actually really good advice. So remember who your mentors are and their experience and use that to help you filter and focus your energy on what's really important and therefore what you need to do.
So here are 5 coaching questions that will help you and your mentors focus and kick off each meeting you have together. They're borrowed from a book called The Coaching Habit, and you might run into them to the workplace if your manager uses them or if you become a manager yourself. Be ready to discuss these questions at the beginning of each of these meetings to help you get to the heart of what you and your mentor need to work through together. First one, what's on your mind helps break the ice. What else helps you think more deeply and kind of, holistically about the problem that you're working through. What's the real challenge here is kind of getting again to the core, the deep, the final like layer of the issue that's you're working through and what you need to focus on together. You may have heard of a similar tactic called the 5 whys or root cause analysis. So asking multiple times really helps you dig into what you need to work through. What do you want helps you start to build a vision of what success looks like. And then they'll wrap up with how can I help? That starts to turn into, more reality. What are some realistic steps that your mentor can take to help you and that you can do together? This gives you a starting point as you then dive into the meeting topic together, and probably starts a list that'll become your action plan for after the meeting. Now, answering the coaching questions from your mentors might help you kind of add to the list of questions that you've already brought to this meeting. You'll be asking questions too, of course. So you're following the discussion topics to make sure you're working through the steps you need to take to move forward in your job search. But you'll use these questions to gather the information and the background that you need from each mentor to help you make your own plan. So we shared a few common categories of questions that will help you build a discussion, get really detailed and useful personalized guidance. In general, any questions that you're asking your mentors should be open-ended instead of yes/no questions, and they'll give them as much context as possible about why you're asking, what you're hoping to learn, how they can best answer the question. So, categories are examples and stories, learning more about their own experience in something. Advice, what should I do? Based on this information, this current context. Feedback, here's something that I've done, or let's look at this together. What can I do differently? What should I keep? And resources. What else do I need to know? How do I find it? So, next up, we'll do an activity to help you pre-plan, pre-write some questions that will help you as you meet with your mentors to move your job search forward. So let's practice asking questions that will get you the information that you need in a specific scenario. Hopefully, one that will come up soon for you if you're making progress through this program. In this example, let's imagine that you are meeting with your mentor a couple days before you have your first screening interview for an open role. This is an important first round interview. You're looking forward to doing well, but you need to get some information first to make sure you're preparing in the right ways. So take about 3 minutes to write a question from each category that will help you study and get in the right mindset. We've written down the scenario, we've given you the 4 categories to work with, and we'll give you about 3 minutes of blank time here in the video, but pause the video if you need more. You will get the most out of your mentorship by bringing the right mindset to your meetings and to your entire job search. We talk a lot about focusing on what you can change, and a growth mindset really kind of puts you in that place. It acknowledges that you can change your skill level. It believes in your ability to change and grow, change how you understand difficult topics, how you show up as a candidate for tech jobs. You might be rough at the beginning and really grow and show up very professionally as you've worked on it. You are already demonstrating a growth mindset by working towards a degree in tech. And you're proving your ability to learn and grow every day. So congrats, you already have a growth mindset. Let's bring it to this program and to your job search as well. Now, related is something you need to also intentionally practice, which is called positive pragmatism. That is a concept that you're hearing more about now. Pragmatism is high level, acknowledging when things are hard, and when things aren't going your way, but with a positive lens where we're applying the positivity, where you see, things are hard, but you're gonna do it anyway. You're planning to succeed in spite of the challenges. You're looking for alternate paths. And for example, if you have an application that's rejected, you revisit what you did and you adjust for the next one. In any uncertain time, you will have the most success when you focus on the actions that you can take to move forward, what you can control. In your job search, that means you are accountable for updating your resume on LinkedIn. You can control that. Submitting the right version, a tailored version of your resume for the right job. You can control that as well. You have the information you need through your mentors and resources to learn about what those jobs are, where you should target based on your skills, experiences, interests that you can control. You have mentors who can help you practice for interviews, make sure you're scheduling those times and preparing for those. And you can research on your own and with mentors the places where employers show up and where they are, career fairs, networking events, conferences, so you can show up face to face and make a great impression. Now let's practice helping yourself apply a growth mindset to your job search and take a step back to think about how you can consistently remind yourself that you can change, that you can grow and learn new skills, and you can make a plan around the challenges that are ahead of you. Pause the video here or wait, we'll give you about 3 minutes of blank time here in the video, and then write down how you would change these statements to show a growth mindset. Okay, welcome back. We wanted to walk through this one with some responses that we've come up with on the Mint side, just to give you a model for how you can work through these frustrations, through these feelings or phrases that you might find yourself thinking or saying out loud. And you'll see a bit of commonality between them. There's a good approach to turn these around. First statement is, I'm no good at algorithms. And okay, let's start with how do we make this less of a like you as a person are good or bad at things, but focus on the actual current thing that's happening. Algorithms may not be clicking for me yet. Yet is going to be a keyword for all of these. Um, I'll ask my professor for more help. So the formula we use here is yet. It's again, this is something that's not really kind of where you want it to be yet. And then what can you do? What can you control? What's something that you can do next to help yourself get through this? The second statement, we'll use a similar approach here. I don't know anyone who can refer me for this job. Okay, that could be a true statement at the moment. But we start with the I don't know anyone there yet. And then what can you do? Make sure your resume is targeted for the job and the employer, anything that can really call out for the reviewers that this is a good fit for you. And I can talk to my mentors about other ways to stand out. I can look for connections on LinkedIn or through the Slack. Like I can find ways to get connected, or at least look for ways to get connected. That's what you can control. The third one, I'm not cut out for CS. Again, we want to get away from that, I'm good or bad or things like that are kind of define who you are and focus on what the real core of the issue is. You're feeling like it's not really working out for you right now. So you can bring yet to this, or you can say, it's uncomfortable, identify the feeling itself. It's uncomfortable, it's frustrating to see others seemingly breeze through assignments. Know that you may not know what's actually going on for them. But I can ask those people who seem to be having a better time for recommendations. Maybe there are books or articles or websites or videos that they use to help them. So you can take a step there as well. So with all these examples here, again, practice this with more statements. And next up, we actually have a video, an interview with a former Mint student, Ben, talking about how his own mindset shifted as he worked through the program with his mentors and started to see his work pay off.
I got the internship after doing an interview, so it was like a really good feeling to kind of finally get into not all the way into industry, but at least have a foot in the door. That was a huge thing for me. It feels like the effort that I put forward here at Univer and just in general is paying off. Applying to jobs was very difficult because you would send 50 out and maybe get 5 responses or something. It was very hard, and those 5 responses would typically be this position's filled, or we found a candidate that might fit the role better or something. So it's very discouraging. It was finally like the big break, if you will, for me to get into an internship. It was a really good feeling in the sense that it is possible. That was kind of the takeaway from it. It's like it is like if I want to go do something, it might take work, but it is possible. I've been super fortunate in the mentors I've had. The mentorship meetings, I would say, helped me really dive into learning more about asking the right questions, not closed-ended questions. I've learned not dismiss things right away because you don't understand it. It's more reassuring because it's not just like a fairy tale. It's like, no, there's people out there that actually do this.
In this section, we'll talk about the expectations for how we all treat each other in this program and what is or isn't appropriate for this mentor and mentee relationship. First up is a reminder of the code of conduct that each mentor and mentee reviewed and signed as part of the onboarding process. You can always find that document over at this URL if you want to refer back to it and bring any concerns or questions to me or Kevin. To put the code of conduct and the mentor-student relationship in context, we have listed out a few scenarios below that we want you to read through and let us know if, based on what you've seen, how you understand this program to work, they are always okay, never okay, or it depends on the context. If it's never okay, what would be a better alternative? If it depends on the context, what more information would you want to help you make a decision? Mentors are doing this activity as well in their training with the goal for everyone to be clear on what the mentor-student relationship is and is not. So we'll give you another 3 minutes here. So we'll let it play for 3 minutes. If you need more time, hit pause, and then we'll see you back in a few. So we're back now with where we see each of these scenarios from the lens of the Mentors in Tech program. The answers to these scenarios might be different if you were at a different program or at a different life stage, not necessarily a student right now. But what we've recommended here takes into account the ecosystem, the support system that you have around you through your school, through local, city, state services, and these will help you spend your limited time with your mentors most effectively. So let's talk through them for a moment. The first one is the students asking the mentor for an extended or an extra session. That's always okay. And so what we want you to know as a student is that if you do need more time and you've been using your existing scheduled time well, it is always okay to ask for an extra time or to go a little bit longer. Your mentor might say no if they don't have the availability. They might have feedback about how you've already been using the scheduled time. If you haven't been working with them to use the full time, ask questions, and then, for example, if you're about to have an interview and all of a sudden you're really serious, that might also factor into how they respond to your question. But it's always okay to ask and know that your mentors may say no. Second scenario, asking for help with a problem set. This is where you've got school, you've got professors, there may be tutoring services, there might be teachers' assistants that you can work with. Go to your professors first for help with your homework. You are not there with your mentors to do homework, you're there to work on getting your first job in tech. So, question on the homework, go to your school and work on, come to us, we can help you reconnect, but go to your faculty. They'll be the best place to help you get help with the homework if you're having trouble there. The third one, asking a mentor for a job referral at their employer. The context that we need here is around, again, how well do you know each other? Job referrals can be the referral that a mentor might make with their employer will reflect on their judgment, their ability to judge who would be a good candidate for the role, for the team. So when they refer you internally, they are saying, I vouch for this person as a good potential employee. And so, if you've been working really well to update your resume, to tell great stories, that you will show up well in the interview process, then yes, I mean, you can ask for the referral if you already know them, you're showing up well, great. That, and they may say yes, they may be willing to do that and able to do that. If it's your first meeting, you've just met them, they don't know you at all. Same as you wouldn't walk up to somebody at walk into the door of a company and ask for a referral. You don't know anyone there yet. So you need to have a relationship. You need to have shown that you will show up well and reflect that they have good judgment. Fourth one is connecting with your mentor on personal social media. Context is here as well. Your first meeting, don't go connect on TikTok or Instagram or anything like that. You don't know each other yet. You're not necessarily friends. They may not have a professional facing account. And same with you. LinkedIn, instantly connect. That is professional. It's meant to be something that you're connecting with. But decide as you get to know each other, maybe wait till you're done at the end of June and connect up if that's a way you want to stay connected. But I would say, context is the time and how well you know each other. And finally, sharing that you're struggling to pay rent or tuition or is having other personal issues going on, that is okay to share. If that is part of what you're dealing with through this process, share. Your mentor may or may not be able to help you. Don't ask them for money. That's the big thing. They should not be offering you, monetary help. But we want you to be able to share what's going on. Share it with us, with the Mint team. We can help you find resources through, again, your school, through the community, and point you in the right direction to get help with that. But if that is impacting how you're relating to your mentor, you can share what's going on. That is totally okay.
All right, so let's get started. The tech job market is evolving and definitely different than when we started out in 2020. But if you do the right things like meeting with your mentors, attending the workshops, meeting with the Mint partner employers, practicing your technical interviews, we know you will get there. So don't think of this as a quick sprint to land a role, but more of a marathon. We have had over 1,000 students in the program, so we know you will need to manage your energy from now till June, and there's going to be ups and downs. But you can rely on the Mint program and your mentors to help you learn and grow into the tech professional that you set out to be.
As we wrap things up, we wanted to make sure you're fully aware of all of the resources you have access to, both within the Mint program and externally through your school, through local resources as well. So go to these, start with these when you have questions or concerns or if something needs kind of extra attention for you. With Mint, of course, you've got your two mentors where they're two different people and both might have different answers to your questions. The curriculum is here to support you and help you work through the recruiting process and helping you find a job in tech. The workshops and the recordings, the live ones, reinforce what you're talking about with your mentors. And then, like we mentioned, 5 years of recordings to go back to. If you have a question or want more information about some part of the recruiting process, there's a workshop for that. So go back to the discussion topic and find the workshops, the videos, so you can go back and learn more about that. There's so much more on the dashboard. We've talked about that already, and you should have explored it in your first meeting with each mentor. We also spoke about the Meet the Employer opportunities and the referrals that can come from those and how important it is for those to be part of your first wave of applications every month. Now, you can connect with other students and mentors, present and past, online through our closed LinkedIn group and the Mint Slack community, both of which you'll request to join as you wrap up this training. And we will be sending out a monthly newsletter through email so you know what's kind of your focus with your mentors each month and what events are coming up. Highlight things for you to think about at the stage in your job search. And then finally, but kind of throughout all of this, you've got the Mint team. You've heard from me and from Kevin. There are others working behind the scenes as well to make sure that you have everything that you need through this process. Now, outside of the Mint program, you have access to, resources through your school. You are at a college that has faculty members who enrolled you in this program. You've got peers, your classmates and alumni who can help you understand, where you need to point yourself to get to where your goals are. There are probably some student services offices that support students and whatever your specific needs are. So look for those for resources both online and in person. Um, as you look to grow your network in tech and you interact with employers where they are, that means going to local conferences, meetups, hackathons. We've talked about working with your mentors to search for those. Look for those on your own and make sure you attend. Bring classmates with you. And finally, if there are needs that you have that fall outside of school, might have support at the state level, the city level, there are opportunities to get access to healthcare, financial supports, things like that. Look for places that are related to where you live and where you're located. And I'm happy to help point you in the right direction. Your school likely has local connections as well.
Once you have finished this training, make sure to complete and submit your training form. You will not be admitted to Mint without it. The questions are all taken from this training, and this is due by the end of the day on Monday, October 27th. And even before that, we will have a kickoff workshop panel on Friday, October 24th, with Mint alums who are in tech now to talk about how they learned and grew in the program to help them get to where they are now. After you submit your completed student training form, you will be sent a mentor preference form on Halloween, and it is due the following Monday, November the 3rd. And later that week, you will get your mentor matches and access to the student dashboard, and you can get your first meeting with your mentor set up and get those meetings going. Of course, don't forget to add mentorsintech.com to your safe senders list. Everything above will come to you from a Mentors in Tech email. So make sure it doesn't land in your spam box and you miss all the program deadlines and communications. Follow the Mint LinkedIn page, do all the social media stuff so we reach more employers and be able to help you even better. And also request to join the LinkedIn discussion group where we post a lot of open roles and also Slack as well. This is what the matching process and form will look like for you. You will see a list of about 25 mentors we think that are best matches for you based on the preferences that you put on your student information form earlier. And there's a fairly detailed information about each mentor. You have to select at least 5 and you put them in preference order. And don't forget to hit the submit button. If you don't hit submit, we won't get it. And don't wait until the deadline. Available mentor list changes when other students have submitted their forms. So if you come back to a form and it may not be the same as a form you saw yesterday. And remember, be very intentional about who you select as your mentors. When the matching is complete, then you get access to your dashboard. Remember to send your greeting email to your mentors. Obviously, schedule that November meeting with them. Start registering for Mint workshops and other events. And during your November meeting, really important, schedule your recurring meetings for the rest of the year. We're looking forward to having you with us this year. We have spent the past 8 months working with your faculty to get everything set up for you before your first mentor meeting next month. If you have any questions, reach out to us or come by our drop-in office hours. We will close out with a video featuring mentor Marianne and mentee Kat sharing how they each grew and found success in their work together. And have a great year.
I was working as a nursing assistant. I loved my job. However, I was recently divorced. It wasn't quite the pay that would afford a life with 4 kids. I decided to go to Green River for software development. I enjoy learning new things, and it's a career where you have to learn new things every day.
Over 80% of students who enroll at a community college are doing it because they want to advance or pivot into a new career. We find that navigating the system is challenging, and when you don't know what the system's about and you don't know what the rules of the system are or what the constraints are, how can one be expected to make it? I teach the capstone class in our program, so it's the last class that students take before earning their bachelor's degree. What we try to do is connect each student to work on a project that's closely related to what they will be doing in industry. Mentors in Tech has been helping us find industry mentors to serve as advisors for the project.
When I met Kat, I had a feeling she was very organized and very determined. In the time that I've been working with her, I've seen her become just like a tremendous developer. She sees problems, and within her capacities, she resolves them.
Marianne was one of the mentors that I had, and I really liked that she encouraged us to take ownership of the issue that we were working on and the skills that we needed to learn in order to complete it. She's helped me a lot this year getting prepared for interviews and getting ready to move into a new role and helping me navigate this transition in my life.
For me, being a mentor is a really valuable experience because I see so much of my own path in others' paths. I just really believe in people's economic opportunity.
Being able to get this degree and get a job where I have opportunity to advance and move forward, it really gives me a sense of hope.